Have you ever had a new idea just appear out of nowhere? Or found some deep meaning in a place you totally didn't expect? Well, today we're going to dive into this really cool concept called the margin of observation. It's all about how meaning can actually come from what seems like nothing at all, from empty space. So let's start with the big one, a question we all think about. Where does meaning really come from? Is it something we just find lying around? Or is it something that we have to create? The usual answer, the one that makes the most sense on the surface, is that we build meaning out of stuff. We collect information, facts, experiences, all the things that are right there in front of us. And we figure, okay, we'll piece it all together and voila, understanding. But what if that's not the whole story? What if we've been looking in the completely wrong place? What if the most profound meaning doesn't come from what's there, but from what's missing? What if it literally rises up out of the empty space, out of the margin? All right, so what in the world is this margin of observation? Let's actually break down what we're talking about here. Okay, so at the heart of it is this idea called spare capacity. Now, this isn't about having an empty head. Think of it more like a cognitive buffer, like some mental breathing room. It's this pocket of freedom inside your own mind that is absolutely essential for new ideas to spark and for those surprising connections to form. Let me give you a picture to hold on to. Imagine a quiet, open field. In this field, any little interference, say a random thought or a connection you didn't see before, it isn't just disruptive noise. No, it's actually the seed of a whole new pattern. It's something that could never have grown in a crowded, cluttered space. That quiet field, that's your margin. And this is how it works, step by step. It's a chain reaction, really. It all starts with contemplation, just quiet thinking. That creates the margin. That space then allows for interference to happen. That interference raises the potential for something new. And then, boom, you get a phase jump. That's that aha moment, that sudden leap where a totally new understanding just clicks into place. So, we get what it is. But why is this margin not just a nice to have, but something that meaning absolutely requires to even exist? Well, it has to do with something called the rationality of absence. You can't see something that isn't there, right? But our brains are wired to see the outline of what's missing. We see the shape of the gap, and we instinctively try to fill it in with meaning. That empty space is practically begging for us to understand it. And when you have this margin, this internal space, it gives you a choice in how you generate change in your own thinking and in the world. And as we're about to see, there are two very, very different ways to go about it. So on one side, you've got collision. This is forced change. It's a sharp, sudden jolt that completely breaks your train of thought. It often just leads to friction and pain. But on the other hand, you have the question. A question doesn't force anything. It gently opens up a space, a field of possibilities. It keeps your mind open and allows meaning to unfold, naturally. Okay, this all might sound a little abstract, right? So how do we actually use this? Let's talk about a few really practical ways to start creating this margin in our day-to-day lives. Here are 3 simple but really powerful things you can try. First, just hold a gap between a stimulus and your response. Something happens, and instead of reacting instantly, just pause. That little pause is a margin. Second, allow things you don't understand yet to just be. You don't have to rush to figure everything out or stick a label on it. Just get comfortable with the unknown. And third, preserve silence. And this isn't just about not talking. It's an ethical choice. It's deciding not to force a conclusion, not to fill every single empty space with noise. Each one of these things helps protect that inner field you need for real insight. And all of this brings us to the final, and maybe the most important, idea of all. This is really the key takeaway. The margin, that quiet, empty space, it doesn't cause meaning to happen on its own. What it does is create the possibility for meaning. It's the fertile soil where insight can finally grow. Without that margin, there's just no possibility at all. So I'll leave you with this to think about. As you go about your day, maybe you'll start to notice these little spaces, these margins. And when you do, you can ask yourself, when I hold this empty space gently, without forcing anything, what new meaning starts to appear?